The notification pinged through Aaron Blake's neural implant at the worst possible moment. He was elbow-deep in the guts of a solar distribution panel, sweat beading on his forehead, despite the climate control in Aurelius Hub's maintenance bay. "Space Tinder match," the synthetic voice chirped cheerfully. "Compatibility rating 97.3%. Aaron groaned, extracting himself from the panel. His scarred hands, steady enough to diffuse plasma mines during the border wars, trembled slightly as he wiped them on his work coveralls. After 3 years of civilian life, he still hadn't gotten used to notifications that didn't herald incoming fire. "Display match," he muttered, knowing his crew would never let him hear the end of it if he ignored another one. The holographic projection that materialized made him drop his plasma torch. Empress Kara Thal of the Ethrix Empire stared back at him with predatory golden eyes. The Huntress Empress herself, ruler of 12 star systems and commander of the most feared military force in the sector. Her bio read, "Enjoys hunting stellar beasts and hunting down deception, looking for someone who can keep up." Aaron's own bio felt pathetically inadequate in comparison. "My armor has survived 2 supernovas, but I'm not sure it'll make it through this date." "Oh, you've got to be kidding me," he breathed. "Is that terror or arousal in your voice?" Jenna Reeves, his fellow security consultant, peered over his shoulder. Her eyes widened. "Holy fusion cores! Blake, you matched with the Huntress Empress, the woman who allegedly eats the hearts of her enemies." "That's propaganda," Aaron said automatically, though his voice lacked conviction. "The Ethrix haven't eaten sentient beings in over 2 centuries. Sure, and Orison Dynamics cares about energy equity." Jenna's sarcasm could have cut through hull plating. "You going to message her?" Before Aaron could answer, another notification blazed across his vision. "Match has initiated first contact." The message was simple. "Your armor intrigues me. Let's test its limits. Aurelius Hub, Sector 7 Diplomatic Lounge, 2100 hours. Don't be late, soldier." Aaron stared at the message. The Huntress Empress knew he was on Aurelius Hub. She knew he was former military. And she'd called him soldier, not by his consultant title. His paranoia, honed by years of combat, screamed trap. But underneath that, "You're going, aren't you?" Jenna said. It wasn't a question. "It's a diplomatic app," Aaron rationalized. "Funded by the Human Alliance specifically to reduce border tensions through interpersonal connections." "Interpersonal connections?" Jenna snorted. "Is that what we're calling it now?" Aaron was saved from responding by the lights flickering. Not unusual on a station this size, except the flicker followed a pattern he recognized from his military days. 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. Universal distress code. The main lighting cut out entirely, replaced by the dim orange of emergency power. "Power allocation adjustment in progress," the station's AI announced with infuriating calm. "Starshade array optimization may cause temporary disruptions. Thank you for your patience." Aaron's jaw clenched. Starshade array optimization was corporate speak for, "We're restricting your light access until you pay up." He'd seen what happened to colonies that couldn't afford Orison Dynamics premium packages. Crops failed. Solar batteries drained. People froze in the dark. He'd lost 12 civilians on Garrison Prime because their rescue mission had been deprioritized during a Starshade adjustment. The memory still woke him some nights, their faces blue-tinged from hypothermia, children clutching toys they'd never play with again. "Blake," Jenna's voice cut through his spiral. "You're doing the 1,000-yard stare thing again." "Sorry," he shook his head. "Just remembering." The lights stabilized at 60% normal output. Enough to function, not enough to thrive. The perfect corporate squeeze. "Attention all residents," the AI continued. "Due to recent aggressive actions by the Ethrix Empire, Starshade access may be limited in contested sectors. Orison Dynamics apologizes for any inconvenience." "Aggressive actions," Jenna frowned. "I haven't heard about any Ethrix movements. Neither had Aaron. And his security clearance meant he usually heard things before they hit public channels. Something felt wrong about this. The timing, the messaging, the immediate blame. His implant chimed. Another message from Kara. Interesting timing for a random power fluctuation. Wouldn't you say still planning to test that armor tonight? Or has the dark scared you off? Against every instinct screaming at him to stay away. Aaron found himself intrigued. The Huntress Empress had noticed the same pattern he had, and she was calling it out. "I need to clean up," he told Jenna, "and find my good armor." The good armor, Jenna's eyebrows shot up. The one you said you'd only wear again if the galaxy was ending. "It's a date with the Huntress Empress," Aaron said, already heading for the door. "For all I know, it might be..." The diplomatic lounge in Sector 7 was designed to impress. Transparent aluminum walls offered a spectacular view of the Starshade Array. A massive lattice of energy collectors and distribution nodes that looked like a spider's web spun from light itself. Each node could redirect stellar energy to different systems, controlling the flow of power that kept billions alive. Aaron arrived 15 minutes early, his restored combat armor gleaming under the reduced lighting. He'd spent 2 hours getting it presentable, buffing out scorch marks and replacing damaged plates. The armor's AI hummed quietly, running diagnostics and threat assessments on everyone who passed. He wasn't the only one who'd come prepared. A full diplomatic detail occupied the lounge's upper level, their weapons discreetly visible. Human alliance from their uniforms. Someone was taking this seriously. At exactly 2100 hours, the air shimmered. The Ethrix didn't use doors when making an entrance. Their personal teleportation technology was a statement of superiority, a reminder that human ships still needed airlocks and corridors, while the Empire's elite could step between stars. Empress Carathal materialized in a cascade of silver light. Aaron's breath caught. The propaganda posters didn't do her justice. She stood 7 feet tall, her form a perfect blend of predatory grace and regal bearing. Her skin had the subtle scaled texture common to the Ethrix, shifting between deep purple and midnight blue as she moved. The ceremonial hunt marks on her arms glowed faintly, each one representing a stellar beast she'd killed in single combat. But it was her eyes that held him. Golden, yes, but with depths that spoke of intelligence far beyond the brutish caricature humanity's media loved to portray. She wore no armor, just a form-fitting suit that looked like it was woven from starlight itself. A deliberate message she didn't consider anyone here a threat. "Aaron Blake," she said, her voice carrying harmonics human throats couldn't produce. "Your armor is even more impressive in person. J-Series tactical suit, pre-war manufacture. You've replaced the chest plating with Kelrium alloy. Interesting choice." "It holds better against plasma fire," Aaron replied, surprised by how steady his voice sounded. "Your Majesty." "Kara," she corrected. "We're on a date, not negotiating a treaty." She paused, tilting her head. "Although given the current situation, perhaps we'll end up doing both." Before Aaron could ask what she meant, the lights flickered again. This time, they didn't come back up. Emergency sirens wailed. Through the transparent walls, Aaron watched several Starshade nodes go dark in sequence. Not a random failure, a deliberate shutdown pattern. "Attention all stations!" A different voice echoed through the hub. Not the AI this time, but a human administrator trying to keep panic from his tone. "We are experiencing a systematic Starshade failure. All civilians are to proceed to designated shelter areas. This is not a drill." The diplomatic detail burst into motion, speaking rapidly into comms, hands moving to weapons. Through the chaos, Aaron heard fragments, Ethrix fleet movement detected, and embargo protocols activated, and light rationing immediate effect. "Convenient," Kara said. So quietly, only Aaron heard her. "Start a crisis. Blame the monster. Justify the crackdown." Aaron's tactical mind was already parsing the shutdown pattern. It matched Orison's standard profit optimization model, cutting power to systems least able to pay, while maintaining service to premium clients. He'd seen it before, but never on this scale. "We need to move," he told Kara. "If this follows standard panic patterns, the transit systems will lock down in minutes. Civilians will be trapped in the outer rings, where life support runs on minimal power." Kara studied him for a moment. "And you care about this because that's where the poorest workers live. Families. Children." His voice hardened. "I've seen what happens when the lights go out and no one comes to help." Something shifted in her golden eyes. "Show me." They moved together through the station's corridors. An unlikely pair, the Huntress Empress and the scarred human soldier, racing against time and corporate greed. Aaron's armor's tactical display painted optimal routes in his vision, avoiding the main thoroughfares already clogged with panicking crowds. "Why did you really message me?" Aaron asked as they descended a maintenance shaft. The emergency lighting here had already failed, leaving only the glow from his armor's power cells and the faint luminescence of Kara's hunt marks. "Your bio intrigued me," Kara admitted. "Most humans on this app boast about their wealth or status. You made a joke about armor not surviving our date. Self-deprecation is unusual. And honesty. Even more so." She paused as they reached a sealed bulkhead. "Also, my intelligence network flagged you as someone who's been asking uncomfortable questions about starshade allocation patterns." Aaron's hand moved instinctively to his sidearm, then stopped. If the Huntress Empress wanted him dead, he'd never have made it to the lounge. "And you," he asked instead, "why is the Empress of the Ethrix on a dating app?" "Because my advisors believe I need to soften my image." She placed her hand on the bulkhead's lock. Her hunt marks flared, and the metal began to glow cherry red. "Show the galaxy that the monster can love. Reduce tensions through, what did you call them, interpersonal connections?" The lock melted. Kara pulled the bulkhead open with casual strength that reminded Aaron she could probably tear him in half, armor and all. "But mostly," she continued, "because I'm tired of being alone in a palace full of people who see me as a symbol rather than a person." The honesty of it hit harder than plasma fire. They emerged into the outer ring to find chaos. Without primary lighting, the vast habitation sector was lit only by the eerie blue of emergency bioluminescent strips. Families huddled in corridors, their breath already misting in the dropping temperature. Children cried as their parents tried to maintain calm. 17,000 people in this sector alone, Aaron said, his armor's sensors painting a grim picture. At this temperature drop rate, hypothermia sets in within 6 hours. The very young and elderly and half that. "Your helmet," Kara said suddenly. "What?" "Your helmet has a broad-spectrum light array for combat in dark environments." "Yes. Can you modify it?" Aaron understood immediately. He knelt, fingers flying over his armor's control interface. The helmet's tactical lights reconfigured, spreading from focused beams to a warm, diffuse glow. It wouldn't replace proper lighting, but it would provide psychological comfort and a bit of warmth. "Clever," Kara murmured. Then, louder. "Citizens of Aurelius Hub, I am Empress Kara Thal of the Ethrix. Despite what you may be hearing, my people are not responsible for this darkness." A ripple of fear went through the crowd. "The Huntress Empress. Here now." "But I am responsible for helping you survive it," she continued. She moved to the center of the corridor, her hunt marks beginning to pulse with increasing brightness. "Gather close. My marks generate heat as well as light." Aaron watched in amazement as the crowd's fear slowly transformed. Children were pushed forward first, parents overcoming terror for their offspring's sake. Then, the elderly. Soon, a circle of humanity pressed close to their supposed enemy, sharing warmth that glowed from symbols of her kills. "This won't last," Kara said quietly to Aaron. "My marks can maintain this output for perhaps 4 hours before I need to rest." Then we have 4 hours to fix this, Aaron replied. He opened a general broadcast channel. This is security consultant Aaron Blake. Authorization code. He rattled off his old military credentials, banking on them still being active in the emergency system. I need all engineers and technical personnel to report to Maintenance Hub 37. We're going to restore local power. The Starshade controls are locked from corporate headquarters. Someone called out. We can't override them. No, Aaron agreed. But we can bypass them. Every sector has local stellar collectors for emergency backup. They're just not connected to the main grid because Orison claims it would compromise system integrity. You mean compromise their profits? Another voice said bitterly. Same thing, Aaron said. But if we can't go through the system, we go around it, Kara finished. I like how you think, soldier. Over the next 3 hours, they worked together in a way Aaron never could have imagined. Kara used her strength to tear open sealed maintenance passages, while Aaron directed teams of volunteers to reroute power connections. The Empress personally carried heavy components that would normally require machinery, her hunt marks providing light for workers to see by. And through it all, the propaganda continued to flow. Emergency broadcasts blamed Ethric's sabotage. Talking heads on news feeds spoke gravely about the need for increased security measures, for giving Orison Dynamics emergency powers to protect critical infrastructure. They're not even trying to be subtle, Kara said during a brief rest. She sat on a crate of supplies, somehow managing to look regal despite the industrial setting. Create the crisis, provide the solution, increase control. The question is why now? Aaron connected another bypass cable, his armor's power reserves dropping steadily as he shared energy with the local grid. Orison's been squeezing systems for years, but never this blatantly. Because something's about to change, Kara said. The Solar Commons Conference. Have you heard of it? Aaron had a gathering of species to discuss standardizing energy distribution rights. Idealistic nonsense, he'd thought. But if Orison was worried enough to stage this, an explosion rocked the station. Aaron's tactical display screamed warnings. Hull breach in Sector 12. Exactly where the main life support processors were housed. That's not a system failure, he said. No, Kara agreed, rising fluidly to her feet. That's sabotage, real sabotage, not the fictional kind being blamed on my people. They ran toward the breach, Aaron's armor jets firing to keep pace with Kara's inhuman speed. Behind them, the lights they'd fought to restore began to flicker and die. The processing center was in chaos. A gaping hole in the hull showed stars beyond. Emergency fields flickering uncertainly. Bodies lay scattered, some moving, some still. And standing in the center of it all, corporate security, Aaron breathed. Orison's private military. A full squad in matte black armor. Weapons trained on the surviving engineers. One held a detonator, clearly ready to cause more damage. Orison Dynamics apologizes for the necessity of this action, the squad leader said, his voice artificially modulated. But examples must be made. Stealing power is theft. Theft has consequences. The only thieves here wear corporate logos, Kara snarled. The squad turned as one, weapons rising. Aaron moved without thinking, throwing himself between Kara and the incoming fire. His armor's shields flared, drinking in the energy of pulse rifle shots. Impressive, Kara said, but unnecessary. She moved. Aaron had seen combat footage of the Ethrix in action. It didn't prepare him for the reality. Kara became a blur of motion, her form seeming to split into multiple afterimages. Corporate soldiers fired at shadows, while the real Empress danced between them, her hands striking with surgical precision. She didn't kill them. That surprised Aaron more than her speed. Each soldier dropped unconscious, nerve clusters expertly pressured to cause temporary paralysis. I'm trying to change my people's image, she said conversationally, stepping over a groaning guard. Slaughtering corporate thugs would be counterproductive. The squad leader, the only one still standing, raised his detonator. "One more step and I'll—" Aaron's stun bolt took him in the chest. The detonator clattered harmlessly to the floor. "Nice shot," Kara said. "Nice distraction," Aaron replied. They stood there for a moment, surrounded by unconscious enemies and damaged systems. And Aaron realized something had shifted. They'd moved together like a team, like people who'd trained together for years, rather than strangers on a first date. "So," Kara said eventually, "this is not how I usually spend my evenings." Aaron laughed despite everything. "Really? The Huntress Empress doesn't usually stop corporate terrorism on her dates. Usually there's dinner first." She tilted her head, studying him. "Although watching you coordinate that emergency response was fascinating. You're not just a soldier. You're a leader who pretends not to be. And you're not just a hunter," Aaron countered. "You're a protector who pretends to be a monster." Her golden eyes widened slightly. "Careful. Aaron Blake. Keep making observations like that and I might have to keep you." Before he could respond, his armor's comm system exploded with chatter. The hull breach had triggered station-wide alerts. Real security was responding. And worse. "Aaron, this is Jenna. You need to see the news feeds. Now." He pulled up the display, Kara leaning close to watch. "Breaking news," the anchor said breathlessly. "Ethrix terrorists have attacked Aurelius Hub's life support systems. The Huntress Empress herself was spotted at the scene. Deaths are already being reported." The video showed Kara in the corridor, but edited. Cut to make her gathering of refugees look like a hunting party selection. Aaron's armor, standing beside her, had been digitally altered to show Ethrix military markings. "Impressive work," Kara said, her voice deadly calm. "They prepared this in advance. The whole evening was a setup." Aaron's mind raced. The dating app match, the power failure, the convenient corporate security squad. They wanted you here, wanted you visible when the crisis hit. "The question is whether they expected you," Kara said. "A decorated human soldier, working alongside the monster. That complicates their narrative." "Only if we live to tell the real story," Aaron pointed out. Kara smiled then. And it was definitely a predator's expression. "Oh, we'll live, and we'll do more than tell the story." She pulled out a communication device, unlike anything Aaron had seen, all flowing curves and pulsing light. "This is Empress Carathal. Initiate Sunlight Protocol. Authorization. The hunt reveals truth in darkness." "What's Sunlight Protocol?" Aaron asked. "My backup plan," Kara said. "I didn't come to Aurelius Hub just for a date. I came because my intelligence network suggested Orison was planning something significant. I just didn't expect them to be this bold." Through the damaged hull, Aaron saw lights beginning to appear. Ships, dozens of them, but not the angular military vessels he expected. These were cargo haulers, emergency response craft, mobile hospitals. "You brought a humanitarian fleet," he breathed. "I told you I was trying to change my image." Kara's smile softened slightly. "Besides, my mother always said the best hunt is one where you already know what your prey will do." The station shook as the first ships docked. Within minutes, Ethrix emergency teams were flooding the damaged sectors, not with weapons, but with portable generators, medical supplies, heating units. Aaron watched the newsfeed scramble to adjust their narrative. Hard to paint the Ethrix as terrorists when they were actively saving lives. "This is just the beginning," Kara said quietly. "Orison won't stop here. They've shown their hand now. They're willing to kill thousands to maintain their monopoly." "Then we stop them," Aaron said simply. "We," Kara raised an eyebrow. "This was just a first date, soldier. Rather presumptuous to assume there'll be a second." Aaron looked at his armor's power readout, down to 12% after sharing energy with the grid and shields with her. His good armor, the one he'd sworn to never wear again unless the galaxy was ending. Maybe it was. "My armor didn't survive the night," he said. Just like my bio promised. Seems only fair you give me a chance to find better armor for date 2. Kara laughed, a sound like crystal chimes in a stellar wind. Very well. But next time, I choose the venue. Somewhere with less corporate sabotage. Deal, Aaron said. Then, more seriously, what you did tonight, gathering those people, sharing your warmth, was necessary, Kara interrupted. But her hunt marks pulsed with what he was beginning to recognize as embarrassment. Was heroic, Aaron corrected, and exactly what the galaxy needs to see. The real you, not the propaganda. Kara was quiet for a moment. Around them, the station slowly came back to life as power was restored and repairs continued. The real me, she mused. I'm not sure I know who that is anymore. The hunter. The Empress. The woman on a dating app looking for connection. Maybe all three, Aaron suggested. Maybe that's what makes you interesting. She turned those golden eyes on him fully. You're dangerous, Aaron Blake. Me, you're the one with the stellar beast kills and the private fleet. Yes, but you. She paused, seeming to choose her words carefully. You see through masks. That's a far more dangerous skill than any hunt. Their moment was interrupted by the arrival of human security forces, finally responding to the breach. Aaron saw the calculation in their eyes, the desire to arrest Kara, warring with the political impossibility of it. Empress, their leader said stiffly, we'll need a statement about tonight's events. Of course, Kara replied smoothly. Mr. Blake and I were enjoying a diplomatic meeting when the power failures began. We responded to the humanitarian crisis, as any decent beings would. I'm sure the security footage will confirm this, assuming it hasn't been mysteriously corrupted. The security leader's face tightened. They all knew the footage would show exactly what Orison wanted it to show. However, Kara continued, my fleet sensors recorded everything from the moment we arrived. High definition, multi-spectrum, quantum encrypted data streams. I'd be happy to share this with any legitimate investigation. Aaron hid a smile. Check and mate. As the security forces retreated to huddle and discuss, Kara turned back to him. Walk me to my shuttle, she asked. They made their way through the station. An odd procession. The Huntress Empress and the human soldier, trailed by nervous security and curious civilians. Word had spread about what really happened. Children who'd huddled in the dark for warmth now waved shyly at Kara. Engineers whose lives they'd saved nodded respectfully to Aaron. You realize this changes everything, Kara said as they reached the docking bay. Her personal shuttle was a thing of beauty, all sleek lines and predatory grace, like its owner. The game was always rigged, Aaron replied. At least now we know who's rigging it. And you want to help unrig it? Aaron thought about Garrison Prime, about 12 civilians who died in the dark because their lives weren't profitable enough to save. Yeah, he said, I do. Kara nodded slowly. Then I have a proposition. The Solar Commons Conference happens in 3 weeks. There's a push to classify stellar energy as a fundamental right, not a commodity. Orison will do everything to stop it. And you need someone who understands their tactics. Someone human, to show this isn't just Ethrix politics. Someone who's willing to put principles before profit. Kara agreed. Someone who jokes about their armor not surviving, but still stands between me and pulse rifle fire. To be fair, I didn't think that through, Aaron admitted. That's what made it sincere. She paused at the shuttle's ramp. So, Aaron Blake, will you join my hunt, not for beasts or enemies, but for truth? Aaron looked at his reflection in the shuttle's hull. Scarred face, battered armor. A soldier who'd tried to leave war behind but kept finding it in corporate boardrooms and energy monopolies. I'll need new armor, he said. Kara smiled. I know just the artificer, Ethrix craftsmanship. It will definitely survive our next date. Just our next date, not very confident in your technology. Oh, the armor will last forever, Kara assured him. But I make no promises about the man inside it. There was something in the way she said it, predatory and playful and absolutely sincere, that made Aaron's pulse race. "When do we start?" he asked. "We already have." Kara gestured to the station around them. "Tonight, Orison showed they're willing to commit mass murder to maintain control. But they also showed they're afraid. The Solar Commons Conference threatens their monopoly, so they're accelerating their plans. Creating crises to justify emergency powers," Aaron said. "Classic authoritarian playbook." "Exactly. But they made one mistake." Her golden eyes gleamed. "They brought us together." A notification chimed on Aaron's implant. Space Tinder, of all things. "New compatibility analysis available," the app announced. "Based on observed interaction patterns, your match rating has increased to 99.7%. Kara's own device chimed with the same message. She laughed. "The algorithm likes us," she said. "Smart algorithm," Aaron replied. She stepped closer, close enough that he could see the individual scales that caught the light, like tiny prisms. 3 weeks. Aaron Blake. 3 weeks to expose Orison's lies and save the Solar Commons Conference. Think that's enough time? "Depends," Aaron said. "Are we counting tonight as date 1 or a preliminary meeting?" "Oh, definitely date 1, Kara said. "I've already told my advisors that the human soldier's armor didn't survive the night. They're very curious about what exactly we did." "Let them wonder," Aaron suggested. "Agreed." She turned toward her shuttle, then paused. "Aaron, that bio of yours, 'My armor has survived 2 supernovas.' Was that true?" "Unfortunately, yes. The Kepler campaign and the Orion collapse. Both times Orison pulled Starshade support at critical moments. Both times people died who shouldn't have." Kara's expression hardened. "Then, we have even more in common than the algorithm realized. I've hunted many beasts. Aaron Blake. But the worst monsters I've found wear suits and speak in profit margins. So we hunt them." "We hunt them," she confirmed. "But cleverly, legally, publicly. We drag them into the light they try to ration and let the galaxy see what they really are." As her shuttle lifted off, Aaron stood in the docking bay and wondered what he'd gotten himself into. A date with the Huntress Empress had turned into a revolution against the galaxy's most powerful corporation. His armor was nearly depleted, his body exhausted, and he was probably now on Orison's hit list. He couldn't wait for date 2. Above, the Starshade array continued its slow dance, parceling out survival in measured doses. But for the first time in years, Aaron had hope. Not the false hope of political promises or corporate PR, but real hope. The kind that came from standing in the dark with someone who could burn bright enough to change everything. The kind that came from finding someone worth fighting beside. The kind that started with a joke about armor and ended with a hunt for justice. Space Tinder, he thought with a wry smile. Who would have guessed? In her shuttle, accelerating toward her fleet, Empress Kara Thal allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. The evening had exceeded all expectations. Not the crisis. She'd anticipated Orison might try something. But Aaron Blake. She'd expected a soldier, found a leader. Expected bitterness, found compassion. Expected human, found kindred spirit. Her advisors would be furious. Involving herself with a human, and a controversial one at that, would complicate everything. Good. Complications meant unpredictability. And unpredictability was exactly what the hunt for justice needed. 3 weeks to the Solar Commons Conference. 3 weeks to expose a conspiracy. 3 weeks to change the galaxy's mind about who the real monsters were. And if she was very lucky, 3 weeks to see what Aaron Blake looked like in proper Ethrix armor. The hunt, as her mother always said, was just beginning. The Orison Dynamics headquarters floated in the executive sector of New Geneva Station like a predator waiting to strike. Cassandra Prim stood before the floor-to-ceiling windows of her office, watching the Starshade array's diagnostic data flow across her retinal display. Each node pulsed with profitable efficiency, delivering light to those who could afford it, withholding from those who couldn't. The Aurelius incident has been contained. Her security chief, Commander Drake, reported from behind her. Media narrative holding at 73% acceptance. 73, Cassandra mused, not turning around. Not enough. What about the Huntress Empress's humanitarian fleet? Complicated the story, ma'am. Hard to paint them as terrorists when they're distributing emergency supplies. Then we pivot. Cassandra finally turned, her sharp features highlighted by the calculated lighting of her office. If we can't make her a terrorist, we make her a conqueror. Humanitarian aid today, occupation tomorrow. The masses love a simple narrative. And Blake. Aaron Blake. She savored the name like expensive wine. Decorated soldier, hero of Garrison Prime. If you ignore that he failed to save those civilians. Now playing bodyguard to alien royalty. The propaganda writes itself. Her desk chimed with an incoming priority message. The sender made her smile. Director Harrison Walsh, head of the Colonial Broadcasting Network, her most reliable asset in the information war. Cassandra. Walsh's oily voice filled the room. I have concerns about the Solar Commons Conference. My sources say there's real momentum behind this light as a right nonsense. Which is why we're accelerating the campaign, Cassandra assured him. By the time the conference convenes, the Etherics will be so toxic that anyone allied with them will be politically radioactive, including certain idealistic ambassadors. She ended the call and pulled up her strategic planning interface. 3 weeks until the Solar Commons. 3 weeks to turn public opinion so thoroughly that the very idea of regulating Starshade access would seem like surrender to alien invasion. Drake, she said, activate Project Loom. Ma'am, that's still in beta. The deepfake protocols aren't fully. They're convincing enough. Begin with subtle insertions. Historical footage showing Etherics aggression. Testimonials from survivors of their attacks. Build the foundation slowly. Understood. And if Blake or the Empress counter with their own evidence? Cassandra smiled. Then we'll learn exactly how much truth the market can bear. 3 days had passed since the Aurelius incident, and Aaron Blake was exhausted. He'd barely slept, coordinating security for refugee transfers while documenting every discrepancy in Orison's official story. His temporary quarters on Kara's flagship, the Stellar Hunt, were luxurious by military standards, but he couldn't shake the feeling of being in enemy territory. Not enemy, he corrected himself. Ally. The Etherics crew had been nothing but professional, even friendly. It was his own prejudices, hammered in by years of propaganda, that made him jumpy every time one of them approached. A chime at his door interrupted his brooding. Come in. Maya Rodriguez entered, her press credentials jangling against her chest. The investigative journalist had attached herself to their cause within hours of the Aurelius incident, sensing the story of a lifetime. Tell me you found something useful in those maintenance logs, she said, without preamble. Aaron gestured to the holographic display floating above his desk. Pattern analysis confirms what we suspected. Every random Starshade failure in the past year preceded a major energy market shift. Orison always happened to have reserve capacity ready to sell at premium rates. Market manipulation. Classic. Maya studied the data with the intensity of a hunter. But proving intent is harder than showing correlation. We need internal communications, executive decisions, something that shows they knew people would die. Working on it, Aaron said. I still have contacts in military intelligence. Some of them are asking the same questions we are. Maya perched on the edge of his desk, a liberty she'd started taking after their third strategy session. You know what fascinates me about this whole situation. The massive conspiracy to control humanity's energy supply. Besides that, she grinned, you and the Empress, The algorithm really matched you two. No diplomatic interference, no backroom deals. Aaron felt heat rise in his face. It was just a date. A date that ended with exposing corporate terrorism and launching a revolution. Hell of a first impression, Blake. Before Aaron could respond, his door chimed again. This time, he didn't need to grant permission. Empress Kara Thal entered like she owned the ship, which, technically, she did. She'd traded her ceremonial garb for a practical jumpsuit that still, somehow, looked regal on her tall frame. Her hunt marks were dim, conserving energy after the marathon healing session she'd performed for the Aurelius refugees. Maya, Aaron, she greeted them. I trust you've seen the latest broadcasts. Aaron pulled up the news feeds. His stomach dropped. Exclusive footage, the anchor announced breathlessly. Ethrix shock troops training for what military analysts are calling occupation protocols. Is the humanitarian fleet actually an invasion force in disguise? The video showed Ethrix warriors in full combat gear, moving through what looked like a human settlement, weapons raised. The quality was poor, grainy, but the implications were clear. That's fabricated, Kara said calmly. My troops haven't conducted urban exercises in months, and never in human-style architecture. Doesn't matter if it's fake, Maya said, already taking notes. It looks real enough. And that settlement design. Aaron, doesn't that look familiar? Aaron enhanced the image, running it through his armor's recognition software. Shit, that's Garrison Prime. They're using the colony I failed to save as a backdrop for their lie. Not failed, Kara said sharply. We're betrayed. There's a difference. Tell that to the families, Aaron muttered. Kara moved closer, her golden eyes intent. I have. Yesterday, 3 of the refugees we evacuated from Aurelius were survivors from Garrison Prime. They don't blame you, Aaron. They blame the system that valued profit over their lives. Touching moment, Maya interrupted. But we have a bigger problem. Look at the scroll. The news ticker at the bottom of the screen made Aaron's blood run cold. Breaking space Tinder revealed as Ethrix intelligence operation. How many humans have been compromised? Oh, they're good, Maya breathed. Attack the method of your meeting. Make everything that follows suspect. Aaron's implant buzzed with incoming messages. Former squad mates, security contacts, even his sister, all wanting to know if he'd been brainwashed by alien pheromones, or whatever nonsense the media was peddling. We need to counter this fast, he said, before the narrative sets like concrete. Already in motion, Kara said. She produced a slim datapad. Ambassador Ria Salgado has agreed to an exclusive interview with Maya. She'll explain the true purpose of the diplomatic matching program and provide documentation showing it was a human initiative, fully funded by the Alliance. That's good, but not enough, Maya said. We need something more immediate, more visceral. People respond to stories, not statistics. Aaron had an idea, a terrible, wonderful idea. What if we gave them exactly what they want? Both women turned to him. They're painting us as a threat, right? The warrior Empress and her human pet, planning invasion. So we lean into it, show them what we're really doing, live stream everything, the refugee assistance, the investigation, hell, even our strategy meetings, complete transparency. That's... Kara paused, considering. Actually brilliant. Hiding makes us look guilty. Openness makes them look paranoid. I can set it up, Maya said, already excited. 24-hour coverage, inside the hunt for truth or something catchier. Show the galaxy what you're really doing. There's risk, Kara warned. Orison will see our moves in real time. They already know what we're doing, Aaron pointed out, investigating them. The question is whether they can stop us without looking like the villains they are. Over the next week, their improvised media campaign took shape. Maya proved to be a genius at guerrilla journalism, turning every attack into an opportunity. when Orison released expert analysis showing Ethric's ships could disable starshades. She countered with technical specifications proving the opposite, that Ethric's technology was actually more compatible with open-source energy distribution. Aaron found himself in the strange position of being a celebrity. The failed soldier turned whistleblower, working alongside humanity's supposed enemy to expose corporate corruption. His inbox filled with death threats and marriage proposals in equal measure. But it was his growing partnership with Kara that drew the most attention. The cameras Maya deployed caught everything: their late-night strategy sessions, their arguments over tactics, the moments of unexpected humor when cultural differences created confusion. "You don't have a word for meme?" Aaron asked during one recorded session, genuinely baffled. "We have cultural replication patterns," Kara replied with dignity. "It's much more scientific." "But way less fun. Look, this is a meme." He showed her a video of a cat failing to jump onto a counter, set to dramatic music. Kara watched solemnly. "This is considered humor. Universal humor. Cats failing at things they're supposed to be good at. It's relatable." "Ah, like when a mighty hunter trips over their own spear." "Exactly, see, you do understand memes?" "Perhaps we should make one," Kara suggested. "What would humans find amusing?" Aaron thought about it. "Well, there's this whole genre where aliens don't understand human stuff. Like, humans will pack bond with anything, or humans are space orcs." Space orcs. Inexplicably durable, weirdly aggressive, but ultimately good-hearted. It's a whole thing. Kara's hunt marks flickered with what he'd learned was amusement. "Then we should record the truth, that humans will indeed bond with anything, including Huntress Empresses, who supposedly eat hearts." "You don't actually eat hearts, right?" Aaron had to ask. "Only metaphorically. Although there was that one time with the stellar dragon." "You're joking." "Am I?" She managed to keep a straight face for exactly 3 seconds before her marks gave her away. "You're terrible," Aaron laughed. "The mighty Empress, telling dad jokes." "I prefer to think of them as imperial humor." Maya, reviewing the footage later, was ecstatic. "This is gold. You two realize you're dismantling centuries of xenophobia just by being adorable together." "We're not adorable," Aaron protested. "Speak for yourself," Kara said. "I'm extremely adorable." But not everything was light-hearted banter. As they dug deeper into Orison's activities, the pattern that emerged was horrifying. The Starshade failures weren't random or even simply profitable. They were targeted. "Look at this," Aaron said during one of their late-night sessions. Kara sat beside him, close enough that he could feel the subtle heat her hunt marks always generated. Every major failure hit colonies that were pushing for energy independence. Solar farms, fusion initiatives, even simple wind power. Anything that might reduce dependence on the Starshades. "They're not just profiting from scarcity," Kara realized. "They're actively preventing alternatives." "It's worse than that," Maya added, joining them with a cup of the bitter tea the Ethrics favored. Aaron had tried it once and decided he preferred his caffeine in forms that didn't taste like regret. "I've been tracking patent filings. Orison has been buying up or burying every significant energy innovation for the past decade. They're creating a monopoly on survival itself." Kara's marks flared brighter, a sign of anger Aaron had learned to recognize. "On Ethrix, we have a word. Thurvak. It means the crime of denying water to the thirsty. It's one of our highest offenses." "Because you evolved on a desert world," Aaron said. He'd been reading about her people, trying to understand. "Water scarcity shaped your entire culture." "Yes, and now these Thurvak are doing the same with light itself." She stood abruptly, pacing the small room with predatory grace. "How can your people tolerate this?" "Because they don't see it," Maya said softly. "Not all at once. A failure here, a shortage there, always with someone else to blame. The Ethrix, the colonists themselves for not paying their bills. Technical difficulties. Never the pattern. Then we make them see, Kara declared. Aaron's implant chimed. Ambassador Salgado was calling. He accepted, and her holographic form materialized in the room. I have good news and bad news, Rhea said without preamble. The senior diplomat looked exhausted, but determined. The good news is that the Solar Commons Conference has agreed to hear evidence about Starshade manipulation. The bad news is that Orison has filed an injunction claiming that any regulation would violate their proprietary rights. Proprietary rights to starlight. Kara's voice could have frozen helium. They're calling it collected and processed stellar energy, Rhea explained. Their legal team is arguing that since they built the infrastructure, they own the output. That's like saying someone who builds a dam owns the rain, Aaron protested. Welcome to corporate law, Rhea said dryly. But here's where it gets interesting. The injunction hearing is public. If we can present our evidence there, before a legal tribunal, it becomes part of the official record, Maya finished. Immune to their spin doctors. Exactly. But we need more than patterns and correlations. We need testimony, witnesses, documents that show intent. Aaron and Kara exchanged glances. They'd been expecting this. The investigation phase was ending. Now came the dangerous part. I know someone, Aaron said finally. Cade Oren. He was a senior engineer on the Starshade project before he quit. Lives off-grid now. Paranoid as hell. But if anyone has the technical proof we need. Can you find him? Rhea asked. I can, Aaron said. But he won't talk to me alone. Not after what Orison did to the last whistleblower. Then I'll go with you, Kara said immediately. An Ethrix Empress approaching a paranoid human engineer. Maya shook her head. That'll go well. Which is why you're coming too, Kara told her. Document everything. If Oren won't talk to us, maybe he'll talk to history. 2 days later, they stood on the observation deck of a transit station, watching ships come and go. Aaron had sent the message through old military channels, hoping Oren was still monitoring them. The engineer had always been cautious, but after leaving Orison, he'd become a ghost. He's late, Maya muttered, camera drones orbiting her head like mechanical halos. He's watching, Aaron corrected, making sure we're not bait. Paranoid, Kara observed. Alive, Aaron countered. In his line of work, those are often the same thing. A maintenance panel near their feet suddenly opened. A head popped up. Weathered face, wild gray hair, eyes that darted constantly. Blake, Cade Oren said. You look good for a dead man. Reports of my death were corporate propaganda, Aaron replied. Cade, these are... I know who they are, Oren interrupted, hauling himself up from whatever maintenance tunnel he'd been hiding in. The alien Empress and the journalist. Question is, why should I trust any of you? Because Orison is killing people, Kara said simply. And you know how. Oren studied her for a long moment. You really don't know. Do you, none of you, how deep this goes? Then tell us, Maya urged, camera already recording. Oren laughed bitterly. Tell you, lady, I helped design the system. The Starshade Array isn't just about controlling light. It's about controlling evolution. Aaron felt the deck seem to shift under his feet. What? Think about it, Oren continued, warming to his subject with the passion of someone who'd been forced to stay quiet too long. Control the light. Control photosynthesis. Control photosynthesis. Control the food chain. Control the food chain. Control development. Orison isn't just selling energy. They're selling the future. Deciding which colonies thrive, which struggle, which adapt, which die. That's monstrous, Kara breathed. That's business, Oren corrected. But here's the kicker. It's not working like they planned. The colonies are adapting anyway, finding alternatives, getting creative. So now Orison's getting desperate. The failures aren't just about profit anymore. They're about forcing compliance. He pulled out a battered data pad. Everything's on here. Technical specifications, executive memos, the whole sick plan. But if I give this to you, I'm dead. They'll hunt me down. No, Kara said firmly. They won't. She moved so fast even Aaron barely tracked it. One moment Oren was holding the pad. The next, Kara had it and was pressing something into his hand in return. Asylum seal of the Ethrix Empire, she explained. Present that at any of our embassies. You'll have protection, new identity if you want it, safe passage to any of our worlds. Oren stared at the seal, a small crystal that pulsed with inner light. Why would you? Because Thurvak, those who deny water to the thirsty, are the enemy of all life, human or Ethrix, doesn't matter. And because... She paused, glancing at Aaron. Someone recently reminded me that strength isn't the absence of fear. It's protecting others despite that fear. The mighty Huntress quoting me, Aaron murmured. Don't let it go to your head, soldier. Maya was already scanning the datapad's contents, her expression growing more horrified with each file. This is... We need to go. Now. If Orison realizes we have this. An explosion rocked the station, then another. Emergency klaxons wailed. Too late, Oren said grimly. They were watching me after all. Through the observation windows, Aaron saw corporate security ships dropping their stealth fields. A full strike team, military-grade hardware, way beyond what corporate security should have. They're jamming communications, Maya reported. Can't upload the data? Then we run, Aaron decided. Get to the stellar hunt. Get the data to Rhea. Small problem, Kara pointed out. My ship is 3 sectors away, and those aren't corporate security uniforms they're wearing. Aaron looked again. She was right. The soldiers boarding the station wore Orison logos, but their tactics, their movement patterns. Military contractors, he breathed. They've hired mercs. Good ones, too, Oren added. I recognize the unit markings. Shadow Company. War crimes in 3 systems. But they get results. Another explosion. Closer this time. The station's lights flickered and died. Emergency lighting casting everything in hellish red. I have an idea, Kara said. But Aaron, you're not going to like it. If it keeps us alive, I'll love it, he assured her. She smiled, sharp and predatory. Then hold on to the datapad and try to keep up. Her hunt marks blazed to life, brighter than Aaron had ever seen them. The air around her shimmered with heat distortion. Maya, stay close to Aaron. Oren, center of the group. Whatever happens, don't stop moving. What are you going to do? Aaron asked. What I do best, Kara replied. Hunt. She moved like liquid darkness given form. Aaron had seen her fight at Aurelius, but that had been restraint, control. This was the Huntress Empress unleashed. She didn't kill, even now, even with their lives at stake. She disabled rather than destroyed. Mercenaries dropped with precision nerve strikes, weapons crushed in hands that could bend steel. Her marks left after images in the emergency lighting, creating a dizzying display that made her seem to be everywhere at once. This way, Aaron led their small group through maintenance corridors, his armor's mapping function finding paths the mercs hadn't secured yet. Behind them, he could hear Kara systematically dismantling the pursuit. They burst into the docking bay to find more mercenaries waiting. Aaron's hand went to his sidearm, but Maya grabbed his wrist. Wait, she said. Her camera drone spread out, broadcasting on every frequency they could find. This is Maya Rodriguez, independent journalist, broadcasting live from Transit Station 7. We are under attack by Orison-funded mercenaries attempting to suppress evidence of corporate crimes. I am with Ambassador Aaron Blake and Engineer Cade Oren. We have proof of deliberate Starshade manipulation causing thousands of deaths. The mercenaries hesitated. Killing in darkness was one thing. Murdering witnesses on live broadcast was another. Clever, Oren muttered, But they'll still... Kara appeared behind the mercenary line like a nightmare made manifest. Her marks painted the bay in shifting patterns of light and shadow. One by one, the soldiers dropped, unconscious before they even realized she was there. "Clear," she announced, not even breathing hard. "Though I doubt that's all of them." They ran for the nearest functional ship, a cargo hauler that had seen better decades. Aaron's military codes got them past the basic security. Oren hotwired the rest with the ease of long practice. As they lifted off, Aaron saw more mercenary ships converging on the station. "We're not going to outrun them in this bucket." "We don't need to," Maya said. She was still broadcasting, her fingers flying over her equipment. 3, 2, 1. The pursuing ships suddenly peeled off, scattering in different directions. "What did you do?" Kara asked. "Posted their ship registrations and the mercenary company's war crimes record," Maya said with satisfaction. "Amazing how fast corporate killers run when they're in the spotlight." They made it to the stellar hunt without further incident. As soon as they were aboard, Maya began uploading Oren's data to every server she could access. Within minutes, it was spreading across the galactic net, faster than Orison's PR team could contain it. Aaron found Kara on the observation deck afterward, staring out at the stars. Her hunt marks had dimmed to their usual subtle glow. "Thank you," he said, "for protecting us. For protecting Oren." "It's what hunters do," she replied. "Protect the pack." "Is that what we are, a pack?" She turned to him, golden eyes, thoughtful. "My mother once told me that the strongest hunters aren't those who hunt alone, but those who know when to hunt together." I'm beginning to understand what she meant. "Your mother sounds wise." She died preventing a war between our people and the Kelvin hegemony. Gave her life to protect a peace treaty. Kara's marks dimmed further. "I used to think that made her weak, choosing words over weapons. Now you're following her path," Aaron said softly. "Just in your own way." "With considerably more violence," Kara noted. "Well, you are the Huntress Empress. People would be disappointed if you didn't knock a few heads together." She laughed, that crystalline sound he was beginning to love. "True, though I notice you didn't need much protecting yourself. That path through the maintenance corridors was inspired." "I had good motivation. Couldn't let anything happen to you before our second date." "Ah, yes, our second date." Her marks pulsed with amusement. "Technically, fleeing from corporate assassins probably counts." "Worst date ever," Aaron said firmly. "For our third, maybe something with less gunfire." "Where's the fun in that?" Kara moved closer. And Aaron caught that unique scent all Ethrix had. Ozone and spice and something indefinably alien. "Besides, I warned you about the armor." "You did," Aaron admitted, "though technically it survived. The night's not over yet." Something in the way she said it made Aaron's pulse quicken. But before he could respond, Maya burst onto the deck. "You need to see this," she said breathlessly. "Orison's responding to the leak." They followed her to the command center, where multiple news feeds showed the corporate response. Aaron expected denials, legal threats, the usual spin. He didn't expect Cassandra Prim herself to appear on every screen. "Citizens of the galaxy," the CEO said, her face a mask of concerned sincerity. "Recent, illegally obtained documents have been spread by terrorist sympathizers attempting to undermine the stability of our energy infrastructure. While we at Orison Dynamics understand concerns about the tragic failures in some systems, we must emphasize that these were necessary sacrifices to prevent greater catastrophe." "Necessary sacrifices," Kara snarled. "The Starshade Array is a delicate system," Prim continued. "Without proper management, cascade failures could doom entire sectors. Yes, we have made hard choices. Yes, some colonies have suffered. But the alternative, unregulated energy distribution, would mean chaos. Billions would die." "She's not denying it," Aaron realized. She's justifying it. It gets worse, Maya said. She pulled up social media feeds. Look at the responses. The leaked data had split public opinion. Some were horrified by the proof of deliberate manipulation. But others were buying Prim's narrative. Better controlled scarcity than uncontrolled collapse. Better some die than all die. Fear, Rhea said, her hologram materializing beside them. The most powerful tool in any authoritarian's arsenal. Make people afraid enough, and they'll thank you for their chains. So what do we do? Aaron asked. We show them the alternative isn't chaos, Kara said firmly. We prove that open systems work, that cooperation beats control. The Solar Commons Conference, Rhea nodded. 1 week away. Orison will do everything to stop us from presenting. Then we'd better be ready for war, Aaron said. No, Kara corrected. We'd better be ready for something harder than war. We need to win hearts and minds. We need to show the galaxy that there's a better way. She looked at each of them in turn. Orison thinks they can control the narrative, but they made one crucial error. They united us, human and Ethrix, soldier and journalist, diplomat and engineer. We are the alternative. And in 1 week, we prove it. Aaron felt the truth of her words settle into his bones. This wasn't just about exposing corruption anymore. It was about building something better. So, Maya said with forced lightness, anyone else feel like we're about to change the galaxy? Or die trying, Orin muttered. Optimist, Aaron told him. Kara's hand found Aaron's, her scaled fingers intertwining with his scarred ones. Whatever happens, she said quietly. I'm glad the algorithm matched us. Best catastrophic first date ever, Aaron agreed. As they began planning for the conference, Aaron couldn't shake the feeling that they were approaching something larger than any of them realized. The data Orin had provided painted a picture not just of corporate greed, but of a systematic attempt to control human evolution itself. And somewhere in the background, unnoticed in the chaos of leaked documents and media warfare, Space Tinder's algorithm quietly updated its matching parameters, learning from the success of its most improbable pairing. The hunt for truth was becoming something more, a hunt for the future itself. And the hunters were just getting started. The refugee camp sprawled across the northern continent of Haven Prime, like a wound that wouldn't heal. Makeshift shelters clustered around failing heat generators, their solar panels barely functional under the restricted light from the Starshade array. Aaron Blake walked through the muddy paths between tents, his rebuilt armor drawing stares from children who'd never seen military-grade equipment up close. Mr. Soldier, a small voice called out. A girl, maybe 6 years old, tugged at his armored leg. Are you here to fix the sun? Aaron knelt, bringing himself to her eye level. Her face was pale from months of inadequate light, but her eyes held a spark of hope that made his chest tight. We're working on it, he said gently. What's your name? Sarah. My mommy says the Empress is here too. The scary one who eats bad people. She doesn't eat anyone, Aaron assured her. She's actually very nice. Then why do they call her the Huntress? Before Aaron could answer, a shadow fell across them. Kara stood there, having approached with her characteristic silence. She'd forgone her usual regal attire for simple refugee camp clothing, but there was no disguising her 7-foot frame or the faint glow of her hunt marks. Because I hunt lies, Kara said, kneeling beside Aaron. Would you like to see something special, Sarah? The girl nodded, fear warring with curiosity. Kara held out her hand, palm up. Her hunt marks pulsed, and suddenly a tiny figure appeared above her palm, a miniature stellar beast made of light, prancing and playing. How? Sarah breathed, enchanted. The marks remember every hunt, Kara explained. But I've learned they can create beauty as well as record battles. This one's from the Crystal Nebula. The beast was sick, so instead of hunting it, I helped it heal. You can do that. Anyone can choose healing over harming, Kara said. It just takes practice. Sarah reached out tentatively, and the light creature danced onto her palm, before dissolving in sparkles that made her giggle. She ran off to show her friends, fear forgotten. "You're good with children," Aaron observed as they continued their walk through the camp. "On Ethrix, all adults share responsibility for the young," Kara replied. "It's how we survived our harsh world. Though I admit, human children are different, less formal, more likely to ask uncomfortable questions, like why the scary Empress is suddenly playing with light puppets." Kara's marks pulsed with what he'd learned was embarrassment. "My advisors would be horrified. The Huntress Empress, entertaining younglings like a common lightweaver." "Your advisors aren't here," Aaron pointed out. "And that little girl will remember this moment forever. The day the scary Empress made her smile." They reached the camp's command center, a converted cargo container where Maya had set up her broadcast equipment. She was in the middle of an interview with camp administrators, documenting the slow catastrophe of light deprivation. "Crop yields down 60%, the administrator was saying. "Vitamin D deficiency in 90% of the children. Psychological impacts from constant semi-darkness. And Orison's latest assistance package, solar lamps that require proprietary batteries at premium prices. Creating the problem and selling the solution," Maya summarized. "Classic exploitation." "It's worse than exploitation," the administrator said. "It's farming us, keeping us weak enough to need them, strong enough to keep paying." Aaron's implant chimed. A message from General Tarek Holst, his former commander and current head of Human Defense Forces. The note was typically terse. "Stop grandstanding with aliens. Real soldiers solve problems with force." "Friendly correspondence?" Kara asked, reading his expression. "My old CO thinks I've gone soft," Aaron said. "Wants me to remember that violence is how humans solve problems." "And have you gone soft?" Aaron looked around the camp, at children playing in inadequate light, at parents rationing power cells, at the slow death of hope. "No," he said quietly. "I've gotten angry. There's a difference." "Good," Kara said. "Anger can be useful. My mother used to say that rage without purpose is destruction, but rage with purpose is transformation. Your mother sounds like she should have written philosophy books." "She did." "Meditations on the Hunt is required reading in our schools." Kara paused. "I hated it as a youngling. Too much thinking. Not enough action. Now I find myself quoting her constantly." "Growing up is realizing our parents were right about annoyingly many things," Aaron agreed. Their conversation was interrupted by a commotion near the camp entrance. A convoy of vehicles had arrived, bearing Orison corporate logos. Aaron's hand moved instinctively to his weapon. "Steady," Kara murmured. "Let's see what they want." What they wanted, it turned out, was a photo opportunity. Corporate representatives in spotless suits stepped out, followed by cargo trucks of supplies, food, medicine, power cells, everything the camp desperately needed. "Citizens of Haven Prime," the lead representative announced. "Media drones already circling. Orison Dynamics has heard your plight. While we work to resolve the technical issues causing your hardship, we bring immediate relief." "Technical issues they created?" someone in the crowd muttered. If the representative heard, she gave no sign. "We ask only that you remember Orison's generosity when certain political elements try to paint us as villains. We are your partners in survival, not your enemies." She looked directly at where Aaron and Kara stood. "Unlike some who would use your suffering for their own agenda." "Oh, that's it," Aaron growled, starting forward. Kara caught his arm. "No, that's what they want. The soldier attacking the humanitarian. Watch." She was right. Media drones were already positioned to capture any confrontation from the worst possible angle. But Kara had her own response. She walked forward, not aggressively, but with the fluid grace that marked her as apex predator. The crowd parted instinctively. When she reached the representative, she smiled. It was not a comforting expression. How generous, Kara said, her voice carrying clearly. Orison brings supplies to camps that exist only because of Orison's policies, like an arsonist offering water to those whose homes they burned. I don't know what you're implying, the representative began. I'm not implying anything, Kara interrupted. I'm stating facts. But please, continue your performance. The children need the food, even if it comes from the hands that starve them. She turned to the crowd. Take everything they offer. You've paid for it 1,000 times over in suffering. But remember who caused that suffering, and remember who exposed it. The representative's smile had become strained. The Ethrix Empire's attempts to destabilize human energy infrastructure are well documented. By whom? Maya appeared with her camera drones. I'd love to see this documentation. In fact, why don't we discuss it live? I'm sure my viewers would be fascinated to hear Orison's version of events. The representative backed away. We're here to help, not debate. The supplies are our gift to Haven Prime. Use them well. The convoy departed as quickly as it had come, leaving behind supplies and a crowd whose emotions ranged from gratitude to rage. That was a trap, Aaron said once they were private again. Of course it was, Kara agreed, but not the one they intended. They wanted footage of us preventing aid distribution. Instead, they got me calling them arsonists on live broadcast. The supplies are probably tracked, Maya added. Maybe even contaminated somehow. I'll have the camp techs scan everything. Paranoid, Aaron said. Alive, Maya countered, echoing his earlier words to Orin. Speaking of paranoid, our engineer friend sent a message. He's found something in the data we missed. They returned to the stellar hunt, now hidden in Haven Prime's asteroid field. Orin waited in the secure conference room, looking like he hadn't slept in days. You look terrible, Aaron told him. Thanks. I've been cultivating the aesthetic, Orin replied. But you'll look worse when you see this. He projected a holographic display showing the Starshade array's full technical specifications. But now, highlighted in red, were components Aaron didn't recognize. Secondary emitters, Orin explained. Hidden in the maintenance sections, they don't distribute light. They do something else. What Kara demanded. They emit specific frequencies that affect biological processes. Subtle stuff. Slight alterations in growth patterns. Neurochemistry. Even reproductive cycles. He pulled up another display. Every failed colony shows the same changes. Increased aggression, decreased empathy, shortened lifespans. They're not just controlling energy. They're controlling evolution. Aaron felt his blood turn to ice. They're changing us. Optimizing according to their internal memos, Orin said bitterly. Creating a more compliant workforce. One that lives fast, works hard, and dies before they can organize resistance. Thurvak, Kara breathed. The word carried layers of disgust Aaron had never heard before. This is beyond denying water. This is poisoning the well itself. Can we prove it? Maya asked, already thinking like a journalist. The components are there in the technical specs, Orin said. But Orison will claim they're for system optimization or some other corporate doublespeak. We need physical evidence, an actual emitter. Which means boarding a Starshade, Aaron concluded. The most heavily defended structures in human space. Actually, Kara said slowly, I have a better idea. We don't board one. We invite them to bring one to us. She outlined her plan with the tactical brilliance that had made her the youngest Empress in Ethrix history. It was audacious, risky, and exactly the kind of psychological warfare that might work. You want to challenge Prim to prove her system is safe, Aaron summarized, in front of the entire Solar Commons. More than that, Kara said. I want to hunt her lies in real time. Make her bring a Starshade node to the conference for demonstration. Once it's there, we scan it publicly. Either she refuses and looks guilty, or she agrees, and we expose the hidden emitters. She'll know it's a trap, Maya pointed out. Of course she will, Kara agreed. But what choice does she have? Orison's entire defense rests on the claim that they're protecting humanity. Refuse a safety demonstration, and that narrative collapses. It's brilliant, Aaron admitted. Also, probably suicidal. The best hunts usually are, Kara said cheerfully. Besides, I promised you a third date with less gunfire. This will mostly be verbal sparring. Your definition of less gunfire needs work, Aaron told her. Over the next few days, they refined the plan. Kara recorded a formal challenge, invoking ancient Ethrix hunting traditions that even humans recognized. Single combat, but with words and evidence instead of weapons. Maya broadcast it across every network, turning it into the media event of the decade. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Hashtags like Hunt for Truth and Zhang Solar Showdown trended across human space. Memes proliferated. Aaron's favorite showed Kara, labeled Scientific Method, hunting a cartoon Prim, labeled Corporate Lies. You've started something, he told Kara, as they watched the social media explosion. We started something, she corrected. Though I still don't entirely understand the appeal of these memes. That one depicting me as a large hunting cat stalking a mouse in a business suit is particularly puzzling. It's symbolic, Aaron explained. You're the predator. She's the prey. Classic role reversal since corporations usually hunt consumers. Ah, like your David and Goliath story. The small defeating the large. Except you're literally larger than most humans. Details. Kara waved off his objection. The point is the narrative. We're shifting it from aliens versus humans to truth versus lies. Speaking of truth, Aaron said carefully, there's something I've been wanting to ask. The night we met, you said you were looking for someone who could keep up. Did you mean physically or intellectually? Kara's marks pulsed in patterns he was still learning to read. Both. Neither. I meant... She paused. Unusual for someone normally so decisive. I meant someone who could see me as more than a symbol. The algorithm matched us based on compatibility, but what I've found is something rarer. Which is partnership. You don't defer to my rank or challenge it needlessly. You simply... She searched for words. You see me. Not the Empress. Not the Huntress. Not the monster or the savior. Just Kara. Just Kara, who happens to be 7 feet tall and can bench press a ground vehicle, Aaron said lightly, deflecting from the emotional weight of the moment. 2 ground vehicles, she corrected. 3 if they're civilian models. They were interrupted by an incoming transmission. Cassandra Prim's face filled the screen, her expression coldly professional. Empress Thal, she began. Your challenge has been received. However, Orison Dynamics does not engage in primitive dominance displays. How unfortunate, Kara replied. I was so looking forward to your attempt at civilized behavior. Prim's eye twitched minutely. What I mean is, we prefer structured debate, facts and figures, not theatrical grandstanding. Then you'll have no objection to a practical demonstration, Kara countered. Bring a Starshade node to the Solar Commons. Show the delegates how safe and beneficial your technology is. Unless, of course, you have something to hide. We hide nothing, Prim said stiffly. Very well. Orison will provide a full technical demonstration. But when we prove our systems are safe and necessary, I expect a public apology for your baseless accusations. And when we prove they're weapons of social control, I expect you to face justice for crimes against sentience itself, Kara replied pleasantly. The transmission ended. Aaron whistled low. She agreed. I can't believe she actually agreed. She had no choice, Maya said. Refuse. And she admits guilt. Accept. And she controls the demonstration. She's counting on technical obfuscation to hide the truth. Then we'd better be ready to cut through it, Aaron said. The week passed in a blur of preparation. They gathered experts, prepared scanning equipment, coordinated with Ambassador Salgado on legal frameworks. Through it all, Aaron found himself working closer with Kara, their partnership evolving from necessity to something deeper. One night, he found her in the ship's observation lounge, staring at the stars. Her marks were dim, almost invisible, a sign of deep thought. "Nervous?" he asked, joining her. "Terrified," she admitted. "Not of Prim or Orison, but of failing, of letting down everyone counting on us." "You won't," Aaron said with certainty. "You're the most competent person I've ever met, and that includes a lot of military overachievers." "Competence isn't always enough," Kara said. "My mother was competent, still died stopping a war." "But the war stopped," Aaron pointed out. "Sometimes that's what victory looks like. Not surviving, but ensuring others do." "Pragmatic, very human of you." "I learned from the best, very Ethrix of me." She laughed softly. "We're corrupting each other." "Improving," Aaron corrected. "That's what good partnerships do." Kara turned to face him fully. "Is that what this is? A good partnership?" "Among other things," Aaron said carefully. "Such as?" "Well, it's definitely the most interesting second date I've been on. Exposing corporate conspiracies, saving refugees, preparing to revolutionize galactic energy policy." "You forgot the memes," Kara added. "I'm apparently now a reaction image for situations involving dramatic reveals. Your proudest achievement, I'm sure." "Actually," Kara said, her marks beginning to pulse with warm light, "my proudest achievement might be convincing a decorated human soldier that not all aliens are monsters." "You didn't convince me," Aaron said. "You showed me. Big difference." "And what did I show you?" Aaron considered the question seriously. "That strength isn't about domination. That leadership isn't about control. That hunting can be about seeking truth rather than prey. That someone can be terrifying and gentle, alien and familiar, royal and real all at once. You see all that?" "I see you," Aaron said simply. The moment stretched between them, charged with possibility. Then, Kara smiled. Not her predatory grin or her diplomatic smile, but something softer and infinitely more dangerous. "Careful, Aaron Blake," she said. "Keep saying things like that and I really will have to keep you." "Promises, promises," Aaron replied. Their moment was shattered by alarms. Maya's voice echoed through the ship. "We have a problem. Orison's not waiting for the conference. They're moving Starshade nodes into defensive positions around the venue." Aaron and Kara rushed to the command center where tactical displays showed the situation. 3 Starshade nodes, each the size of a small moon, taking positions that could either provide light to the conference or deny it entirely. "They're making a statement," Aaron realized. "Play along or get cut off." "Then we make a stronger statement," Kara declared. "Maya, can you broadcast from the ship?" "Always," the journalist confirmed. "Good. Then let's show the galaxy what we're really hunting." She turned to Aaron. "Feel like causing some trouble before our third date?" "Wouldn't miss it," Aaron said. "Then armor up, soldier. Time to remind Orison that humans aren't the only persistent hunters in the galaxy." As Aaron headed to the armory, he reflected on how much had changed since that first notification from Space Tinder. He'd matched with an alien Empress, uncovered a conspiracy that threatened human evolution itself, and found something he hadn't even known he was looking for. Partnership, purpose, and maybe, if they survived the next few days, something more. His new armor, Ethrix, crafted as Kara had promised, waited in the armory. It was a fusion of human and alien technology, stronger and more flexible than anything he'd worn before. Like his relationship with Kara, it was something new, built from the best of both worlds. "Ready?" Kara asked, appearing in her own combat gear, ceremonial armor that managed to be both beautiful and utterly lethal. Ready, Aaron confirmed. Together, they prepared to face Orison's latest move. The hunt was entering its final phase, and the prey was fighting back. But Aaron had learned something important over the past weeks when you hunted alongside the Huntress Empress. You didn't just pursue your target. You became something they never saw coming. A partnership between species. A love story written in defiance and justice. A future where light belonged to all. The solar commons awaited, and with it, the confrontation that would decide whether humanity evolved under its own terms or Orison's. Time to hunt. The Solar Commons Conference Center orbited at the L5 point between Earth and Luna, a testament to humanity's architectural ambitions. Its transparent domes and spiraling towers should have been bathed in perpetual sunlight. Instead, 3 starshade nodes hung in space around it like massive spiders, their collection arrays casting calculated shadows across the structure. Aaron Blake stood in the preparation chamber, watching technicians run final diagnostics on the scanning equipment they'd smuggled aboard. His new Ethrix armor felt alien against his skin, its bioreactive surface constantly adjusting to his movements. Every few seconds, it whispered tactical data directly into his nervous system, a sensation he was still getting used to. "Stop fidgeting," Kara said from across the room. She stood perfectly still as her own attendants made final adjustments to her formal armor. It was a masterpiece of Ethrix craftsmanship, ceremonial yet functional. Every scale and joint a perfect fusion of art and warfare. "I'm not fidgeting," Aaron protested. "I'm acclimating." "You're nervous," she corrected. "Your heart rate is elevated, your pupils dilated, and you've checked your weapon 6 times in the last 10 minutes. Your armor is monitoring my biometrics." "Our armors are synchronized," Kara explained. "In battle, we need to move as one. Your fear becomes my caution. My rage becomes your strength." "That's intimate," Aaron said carefully. "That's partnership," Kara replied. Her marks pulsed with what he'd learned was amusement. "Though, if you'd prefer, I can disable the connection." "No," Aaron said quickly. Too quickly. "It's good to have backup." Maya entered. Her press credentials somehow expanded to include a full technical crew. "We're live in 30 minutes. The main chamber is already packed. Every major species has sent representatives. This isn't just about human energy rights anymore. It never was," Ambassador Ria Salgado said, joining them. The diplomat wore formal robes that incorporated elements from a dozen cultures. "Orison's model has been replicated across the galaxy. If we can break their monopoly here, it sets precedent everywhere." "No pressure," Aaron muttered. "Pressure creates diamonds," Kara said. "Or crushes carbon into dust. Let's be diamonds today." Through the chamber's windows, Aaron could see delegates arriving. The Kelvin delegation with their crystalline exoskeletons. The Urani floating in their pressure suits. Even the isolationist Threen had sent observers. But his attention was drawn to the human sections, where corporate executives sat separately from colonial representatives. The division was obvious and intentional. "Prim's already here," Maya reported, monitoring feeds. "She's brought a full technical team and... Oh, that's interesting. General Holst is with her, and Matriarch Sithra from the Ethrix military faction." Aaron's jaw tightened. His former commander siding with Orison stung more than he'd expected, and Sithra's presence meant Kara would face opposition from her own people as well. "They're trying to frame this as military necessity," Ria said. "Order versus chaos, security versus vulnerability. Then we'll show them what real vulnerability looks like," Kara said. Her marks began to glow brighter, the hunting instinct rising. "Are the scanners ready?" Cade Oren's voice crackled through their comms. The engineer had refused to attend in person, but was monitoring remotely. "Ready as they'll ever be. Just get me close enough to a node, and I'll expose every hidden circuit." 30 seconds, Maya announced. "Remember, this is theater as much as truth." Play to the audience. Aaron and Kara moved toward the entrance together. At the threshold, she paused. Aaron, she said quietly, whatever happens in there, I want you to know, matching with you was the best accident of my life. Accident? Aaron raised an eyebrow. I thought the great Huntress Empress didn't believe in accidents. I don't, she admitted, which is what makes this so interesting. Before he could respond, the doors opened, and they entered the arena. The main chamber was a masterpiece of diplomatic architecture. Circular tiers of seats rose around a central platform, designed so every delegate had equal view and status. Above, a transparent dome showed the stars and the looming shadows of the starshade nodes. Cassandra Prim stood at one focus of the elliptical platform, her corporate team arrayed behind her like an army. She wore a suit that probably cost more than a colony's annual energy budget, every line calculated to project authority. Empress Thal, she said, her voice carrying through the chamber's acoustics. How generous of you to provide this entertainment. Director Prim, Kara replied, taking her position at the opposite focus. How predictable of you to mistake justice for performance. A ripple of reaction ran through the delegates. The battle lines were drawn. The conference moderator, a neutral AI projection, materialized between them. This special session of the Solar Commons will address the challenge issued by Empress Kara Thal regarding the safety and necessity of starshade technology. Director Prim, as the challenge party, you may present first. Prim stepped forward, and the chamber's holographic systems came alive. Star charts, energy distribution graphs, population statistics, a flood of data designed to overwhelm. Delegates of the Solar Commons, she began. We stand at a crossroads. On one side, the proven stability of managed energy distribution. On the other, the chaos of unregulated access. She gestured, and the display showed colonies thriving under starshade protection. For 50 years, Orison Dynamics has prevented the energy wars that once decimated entire systems. Yes, we charge for our services. Yes, we must sometimes make difficult decisions. But the alternative? The display shifted to historical footage. Colonies fighting over solar collectors. Ships destroying each other's energy infrastructure. The bad old days before the starshades. Without centralized control, we return to this. Prim continued. Is that what the Empress wants? Is that what any of you want? It was a strong opening. Aaron had to admit. Fear was always an effective motivator, but Kara was already moving. An interesting history lesson, she said, her voice cutting through the murmurs of agreement. But incomplete. Show them what happened after those energy wars. Director, show them who profited from the chaos. Prim's expression didn't change, but Aaron caught the slight tension in her shoulders. I don't follow. Then, let me illuminate. Kara gestured, and Maya's team projected their own data. Orison Dynamics, founded just months after the worst conflicts. Initial funding from arms dealers who'd supplied both sides. Early contracts granted under emergency provisions that were never rescinded. The chamber stirred as delegates began connecting dots. You didn't prevent the wars, Kara continued. You profited from them. And when they ended, you ensured they could never happen again. Not because you care about peace, but because monopoly is more profitable than competition. Speculation and conspiracy, Prim dismissed. Where is your proof? Right here, Aaron said, stepping forward. It wasn't his turn to speak, technically, but diplomatic protocol had never been his strong suit. 3 weeks ago, Orison created an artificial crisis on Aurelia's hub. People died. Children nearly froze in the dark. And why? He projected the leaked communications. Because the station was considering alternative energy sources. Because your profit margins were threatened. Director Prim, you didn't prevent energy wars. You just changed the battlefield. General Holst stepped out of the corporate section. Mr. Blake, you forget yourself. You're a soldier, not a policymaker. I remember myself perfectly. General, Aaron replied. I remember Garrison Prime. I remember 12 civilians who died because Orison decided their lives weren't worth the energy cost of rescue. You taught me that soldiers protect people. Somewhere along the way, you forgot that lesson. The two men stared at each other across the chamber. Years of respect and command structure crackled between them, breaking down in real time. Gentlemen, the moderator intervened, please return to your positions. Empress Thal, do you have evidence to support these accusations? Better than evidence, Kara said. I have a proposal. Director Prim has brought a Starshade node for demonstration. Let's examine it. Publicly. Completely. If it's truly just an energy distribution system, she has nothing to fear. Impossible, Prim said immediately. The technology is proprietary. Trade secrets worth trillions. More valuable than lives, Kara pressed. More important than trust. You claim these nodes are safe, necessary, benevolent. Prove it. The chamber erupted in discussion. Delegates conferring, taking sides, calculating political costs. Aaron watched Prim's face and saw the exact moment she realized she was trapped. Very well, the CEO said, voice like ice. But I have a condition. The examination must be conducted by neutral parties. And if they find nothing improper, the Ethrix Empire formally endorses Orison's energy management system. Agreed, Kara said without hesitation. And if we find what I know is there, Orison immediately transfers all Starshade technology to open-source control. You're very confident for someone about to lose an empire's credibility, Prim noted. I'm a hunter, Kara replied. I never strike unless I'm certain of my prey. The next hour was orchestrated chaos. Technical teams from multiple species converged on the demonstration node. Scanners were calibrated, protocols established, safeguards implemented. Through it all, Aaron stayed close to Kara, their synchronized armors sharing data and instinct. She's too calm, Aaron murmured. Prim knows something we don't. Or she's very good at bluffing, Kara replied. Watch the Kelvin delegate, third row, left section. He's been signaling someone. Aaron checked. Sure enough. Subtle light patterns flickered across the crystalline being's surface. Corporate communications. They're coordinating something. Then we'd better move first. Kara raised her voice. Delegates, while we wait for the technical examination, perhaps Director Prim could explain something. Why does Orison oppose the Solar Commons energy proposal so strongly? If your system is beneficial, wouldn't oversight simply confirm that? Because oversight becomes interference, Prim responded smoothly. Committees making technical decisions they don't understand. Politics overriding physics. Or because oversight would reveal this. Cade Oren's voice burst through the chamber's speakers. On the main display, technical schematics materialized, the hidden components he'd discovered. Secondary emitters in every node. Frequency generators that have nothing to do with energy distribution. Prim's calm finally cracked. How did you... Those are classified. We're classified, Maya corrected, stepping into the spotlight. Until a brave engineer risked everything to expose them. Delegates, what you're looking at is a weapon. Not against ships or stations, but against evolution itself. The chamber exploded. Delegates shouting, demanding explanations. Through it all, Kara stood perfectly still, marks glowing like stellar fire. Enough! She roared, and her voice carried harmonics that silenced even the angriest delegates. Director Prim, you have one chance. Explain these components. Now. Prim straightened her suit, buying time. When she spoke, her voice had regained its corporate smoothness. Population management systems. Nothing sinister. As colonies grow, energy demands increase exponentially. These supplements encourage sustainable growth patterns. You mean they force genetic changes? Aaron said. shorter lifespans, increased aggression, decreased empathy. You're engineering us into better workers and worse humans. Evolution was already doing that, Prim countered. We're simply guiding it, ensuring humanity's survival in a hostile universe. By making us more hostile, Kara's marks were pulsing now, the rhythm matching Aaron's elevated heartbeat through their armor link. By turning humans into tools. Says the apex predator, Prim shot back. Your species hunted and killed its way to dominance. Don't lecture me about guided evolution when your entire culture celebrates the strong consuming the weak. It was a calculated insult, designed to provoke. Aaron felt Kara's rage spike through their connection, hot enough to burn. But instead of lashing out, she smiled. You're right, Kara said softly. We were predators. We celebrated the hunt, the kill, the dominance. And do you know what happened? She stepped forward, each movement deliberate. We nearly went extinct. The strong consumed the weak until only the strong remained. And then we consumed each other. Until my ancestor, Thara the Wise, changed everything. She said the greatest hunt was not for prey, but for purpose. Not for domination, but for harmony. Her marks shifted from angry red to deep gold. We evolved, director, not through manipulation or force, but through choice. And now you would deny humanity that same choice. Choice, Prim laughed, sharp and bitter. You think they'd choose correctly without guidance, without control? They'd destroy themselves in a generation. Like we're destroying ourselves now, Aaron asked quietly. Slowly, profitably, but still destroying. The examination teams signaled completion. On the display, their findings appeared in stark detail. Every hidden component, exactly where Orin had predicted. Frequency emitters, biometric adjusters, even nanodispensers for chemical manipulation. The evidence is clear, the moderator announced. The Starshade nodes contain undisclosed systems designed to alter human biological development. Director Prim, how do you respond? Prim looked around the chamber, calculating rapidly. Then her expression shifted to something Aaron recognized from battlefield negotiations. The look of someone about to flip the table. I respond with this, she said. She pulled out a device Aaron didn't recognize and pressed it. Every light in the chamber died. Not just dimmed, died. The Starshade nodes outside had reversed their function, actively absorbing light rather than distributing it. Emergency systems failed. Even the bioluminescent species found their natural glow suppressed. In the absolute darkness, Prim's voice echoed. You want to see what happens without Orison, without control. You're experiencing it. Every colony, every station, every ship that depends on our network is going dark. Right. Now. Screams erupted. Panic spread like wildfire. In the darkness, Aaron heard crashes, collisions, the sounds of catastrophe. But through their armor link, he felt Kara's presence like a steady flame. Her marks began to glow, faintly at first, then brighter. Not enough to illuminate the vast chamber, but enough to create a focal point. Delegates, her voice cut through the chaos. I am Kara Thal, Huntress Empress of the Ethrix, and I tell you now, we do not need their light. She raised her hands, and her marks flared to full brilliance. The light was different from artificial illumination, warmer, alive, carrying harmonics that spoke directly to organic nervous systems. Around the chamber, other Ethrix delegates added their own light. The Kelvan representative resonated, their crystalline form becoming a prism that amplified and spread the glow. You see, Kara continued, they create scarcity and call it necessity. They manufacture darkness and sell us light. But we carry our own fire. We always have. Aaron's armor suddenly flared to life. The Ethrix components Kara had insisted on were drawing power from her marks, creating a secondary light source. Around the chamber, He saw similar glows as technology responded to biological energy. That's impossible. Prim's voice had lost its confidence. You can't generate enough power to what Maya's voice came from the restored broadcast systems. To break your monopoly, to prove we don't need you, Director Prim. You just showed the entire galaxy what you really are. Not protectors. Parasites. The main lights flickered back on as technical teams overrode Orison's controls. But the damage was done. Everyone had experienced the darkness Prim was willing to inflict. And everyone had seen the alternatives. I call for an immediate vote, Ambassador Salgado announced. All in favor of classifying stellar energy access as a fundamental right. The response was overwhelming. Hands, tentacles, energy fields, and other appendages rose in agreement. Even some of the corporate delegates, seeing which way the wind was blowing, voted yes. All in favor of transferring Starshade technology to open-source control under Solar Commons oversight. Another wave of agreement. Director Prim, the moderator said, you are hereby stripped of energy distribution privileges, pending criminal investigation for crimes against biological sovereignty. Guards, please escort. Prim moved fast. The device in her hand shifted, revealing itself as a weapon. She aimed it at Kara, the energy discharge already building. Aaron moved faster. His armor, synced to Kara's instincts, had felt her recognition of danger milliseconds before his own. He was already in motion as Prim's finger tightened on the trigger. The shot meant for Kara's heart took him in the chest instead. The Ethrix armor held, mostly. The energy dispersed across its surface in a spectacular light show. But some got through. Enough to drop Aaron to his knees. Systems screaming warnings. Aaron. Kara's roar shook the chamber. She moved like lightning, but Prim had already activated a personal teleporter, vanishing in a corporate evacuation that had clearly been pre-planned. Aaron tried to speak, to tell Kara he was fine, but his armor's biofeedback was going haywire. He felt her hands on him, her marks pulsing with desperate energy as she tried to stabilize his systems. Don't you dare, she whispered, too quiet for anyone else to hear. You promised me a third date without gunfire. You don't get to die making yourself a liar. Technically, Aaron managed, you didn't get shot. Promise kept. Idiot, she said fondly. My idiot, but still an idiot. His armor finally stabilized. Ethrix and human technology working together to repair the damage. As Aaron struggled back to his feet, supported by Kara, the chamber erupted in chaos again. But this time, it was the chaos of change, not destruction. Delegates were already forming committees, drafting legislation, planning the transition. Maya was broadcasting everything, ensuring the galaxy saw Prim's attack and Aaron's sacrifice. The revolution they'd started with a dating app match was becoming reality. So, Aaron said as medical teams fussed over him. Did we win? We survived, Kara corrected. Prim escaped. Orison still controls most of the nodes, and we have a long fight ahead. But yes, we won this battle. Good enough for me. He looked up at her, seeing past the Empress to the woman underneath. Though I notice you called me yours back there. Her marks flushed with the Ethrix equivalent of a blush. Adrenaline. Battle hormones. Don't read into it. Too late, Aaron said. I'm reading all sorts of things into it. General Holst approached, his expression unreadable. For a moment, Aaron tensed, expecting confrontation. Instead, his former commander saluted. You were right, Holst said simply. I forgot what we're supposed to protect. Glad you remembered. Never forgot, sir, Aaron replied. Just had to find the right hunt. As the chaos of victory swirled around them, Kara helped Aaron to a quiet alcove. They sat together, watching the birth of a new era through the chamber's transparent walls. The Starshade nodes still hung in space, but they no longer seemed like threats. They were puzzles to be solved, tools to be repurposed. What happens now? Aaron asked. Now we implement the changes, Kara said. We teach people to generate their own light. We hunt down Prim and her supporters. We build something better. Together. She looked at him, golden eyes warm with promise. Together, after all. The algorithm matched us for a reason. About that, Aaron said. There's something we should probably discuss. The timing of our match, right before all this started. Wasn't random, Kara finished. I know. I've suspected for a while. Someone wanted us to meet. Someone who knew what was coming. Any ideas who? A few. But that's a hunt for another day. She stood, pulling him up with her. Right now, we have a revolution to manage, and you have a promise to keep. I do. Our third date, she reminded him. Somewhere with absolutely no gunfire, corporate conspiracies, or galaxy-spanning implications. Think you can manage that? Aaron grinned. I know just the place. There's this small restaurant on Luna that serves the best Thai food in the system. Quiet, intimate, definitely no weapons allowed. It sounds perfect, Kara said. Then, with a predator's smile, though perhaps we should bring the armor, just in case. Just in case, Aaron agreed. As they walked back into the chaos of change, armor synchronized and hands linked, Aaron reflected on the strange path that had brought them here. From a joke about armor on a dating app to exposing a conspiracy that spanned human space. From soldier and Empress to partners in revolution. The hunt for justice was far from over. But for the first time in years, Aaron had hope. Not just for the future of humanity, but for his own future. A future that included a 7-foot alien Empress who understood memes, fought for refugees, and called him hers in moments of crisis. Space Tinder, he thought. Best catastrophic algorithm error ever. The lights of the solar commons blazed brighter than ever, no longer rationed, but shared freely. And in that light, two unlikely partners began planning their next hunt. After dinner, of course. Even revolutionaries had to eat. 6 months had passed since the Solar Commons Revolution, and Aaron Blake stood on the observation deck of the newly established Light Refugee Agency, watching ships arrive from across human space. Each vessel carried families who'd been trapped in darkness, now seeking sanctuary and new beginnings under the open light standard. 30,000 processed this week alone, Maya Rodriguez reported, joining him at the viewport. The journalist had traded her roving camera drones for a position as Director of Public Information. The camps on Haven Prime are almost empty. And Prim, Aaron asked. Still in the wind. But her support network is crumbling. 3 more Orison executives turned themselves in yesterday, hoping for leniency in exchange for testimony. Aaron nodded, but his attention drifted to the shuttle approaching from the diplomatic quarter. Kara had been in negotiations all week, working to expand the Light Refugee Agency into a truly interspecies organization. Their time together had become precious and rare as responsibilities pulled them in different directions. You're doing the lovesick soldier thing again, Maya observed. I'm monitoring incoming traffic for security purposes, Aaron corrected. Right. And I'm sure that has nothing to do with the Empress being on that particular shuttle. Before Aaron could defend himself, his implant chimed with a priority alert, not from the agency's security systems, but from Space Tinder of all things. System notification, the app announced. Your match compatibility has reached unprecedented levels. Congratulations on achieving perfect resonance status. Perfect resonance. Maya leaned over to read his display. I've never heard of that. Neither had Aaron. He pulled up the details, frowning at the complex algorithms and compatibility metrics scrolling past. Something about quantum entanglement patterns and synchronized biorhythms. It looked more like advanced physics than dating app analytics. The shuttle docked, and minutes later, Kara entered the observation deck. Even in simple diplomatic robes, she commanded attention. Her hunt marks glowed with subtle warmth, a sign Aaron had learned meant contentment. "Aaron, Maya," she greeted them. "Good news. The Kelvin Collective has agreed to share their photosynthetic technology. Combined with the freed starshade nodes, we can create sustainable light gardens on every affected world." "That's wonderful," Maya said. "But you might want to look at this." She showed Kara the Space Tinder notification. The Empress's marks flickered through several colors Aaron couldn't interpret. "Perfect resonance," Kara murmured. "My mother mentioned this once. She said it was theoretical, a compatibility so complete that two beings essentially become quantum entangled. But she also said..." She trailed off, her expression becoming guarded. "Said what Aaron pressed? Nothing. Old stories. We have more pressing concerns." Kara turned to Maya. "Have the transport manifests for tomorrow's colony ship been finalized?" Maya recognized the deflection but played along. "Almost. Though we're having trouble with berth assignments. Some of the human families are nervous about being quartered near Ethrix refugees." "Then mix them more thoroughly," Kara suggested. "Fear fades with proximity. Perhaps organize some cultural exchange events during the journey." They spent the next hour in planning and logistics. But Aaron couldn't shake the feeling that Kara was avoiding something. Their synchronized armors, even in standby mode, let him sense her emotional state. Beneath her calm exterior, she was worried. That evening, Aaron found her in their shared quarters aboard the Stellar Hunt. She stood before a holographic display showing ancient Ethrix text, her marks dim with concentration. "Going to tell me what's really going on?" he asked. Kara didn't turn around. "How much do you know about how Space Tinder actually works?" "It's a matching algorithm. Uses personality profiles, interests, compatibility metrics." "Surface level," Kara interrupted. "But the deep code, the core algorithm, no one knows who wrote it or how it truly functions. It appeared simultaneously across all species networks 5 years ago. Already integrated, already active." "That's..." Aaron paused, considering the implications. "That's impossible. The security protocols alone would prevent unauthorized integration." "Exactly." Kara finally faced him. "My mother was investigating it before she died. She believed Space Tinder wasn't just a dating app. She thought it was something else. Something designed to find specific genetic and psychological combinations across species." "For what purpose?" "She never found out. But she did find this." Kara gestured to the ancient text. "References in our oldest archives to something called the Heart Forge, a theoretical device that could identify and bond compatible souls across any distance, any difference." Aaron moved closer, studying the text he couldn't read. "You think Space Tinder is this Heart Forge?" "I think someone built a version of it. Someone who understood that the biggest conflicts in the galaxy stem from inability to connect across species lines. And I think..." She hesitated. "I think it matched us specifically because we could do what we've done. Change the paradigm. Break Orison's hold." "You're saying we were manipulated." "I'm saying we were chosen." Kara's marks pulsed with complex emotions. "The question is whether that diminishes what we've found together." Aaron considered this. The months since their first match had been chaotic, dangerous, transformative. But through it all, the connection between them had only grown stronger. Whatever had brought them together, the feelings were real. "I don't care," he said finally. "If some ancient AI or alien philosopher or time-traveling Cupid matched us, so what? You're still the only person who's ever seen past my soldier facade. I'm still the only human who's made you laugh at memes. We still saved the galaxy together." "Partially saved," Kara corrected, but her marks were glowing warmer. "We still have work to do. Then we do it together, manipulated or not. I choose this. I choose us." Kara studied him for a long moment. Then she smiled, that rare, soft expression that transformed her face. You always know what to say. I'm getting better at reading your marks, Aaron admitted. That particular shade of purple means you're overthinking something. And that particular human expression means you're about to do something to distract me from overthinking. Guilty as charged. Aaron pulled up his own display. Look what I found. The restaurant on Luna, I mentioned. They've opened a branch on the station. Want to finally have that third date without gunfire. Are you certain it will be gunfire-free? Kara asked. Our track record suggests otherwise. I've had Maya's team sweep it 3 times. No corporate assassins. No hidden weapons. No galaxy-spanning conspiracies. Just authentic Thai food and terrible ambient music. Sold, Kara said. Though perhaps we should wear the armor anyway. Already laid out, Aaron admitted, gesturing to where both sets of armor waited on their stands. I may be optimistic, but I'm not stupid. 2 hours later. They sat in the small restaurant, armor systems on passive standby, sharing pad thai and green curry. The other diners tried not to stare at the famous couple, the human soldier and alien Empress, who'd toppled an energy empire with a dating app match. This is nice, Kara said, struggling slightly with chopsticks. Her people had never developed the utensil, preferring direct consumption methods that humans found unsettling. No corporate conspiracies, no assassination attempts, no one trying to evolve us against our will. Aaron agreed. Just food and conversation, like normal people. Are we normal people? Probably not, but we can pretend for an evening. They talked about small things, movies Kara had discovered through human cultural exchanges, Aaron's attempts to learn Ethric's poetry, plans for expanding the refugee agency, the mundane details that made up a life between crises. I've been thinking, Kara said as they shared dessert, a mango sticky rice that she'd developed an addiction to. About what comes next. Orison is broken, but the underlying problems remain. Scarcity thinking, us versus them mentality, the belief that for one to prosper, another must suffer. Sounds like you're planning another revolution. An evolution, she corrected. My mother believed that different species could find harmony through understanding. I used to think she was naive. Now you're dating a human and serving on interspecies committees. Now I see what she saw. That our differences make us stronger when we work together. Your human chaos paired with Ethric's order. Kelvin crystalline logic balanced by Yorani fluid adaptation. She paused. But it requires trust. Deep, personal trust. The kind that can't be mandated or legislated. The kind that starts with individuals, Aaron said, understanding. With couples and families and friends who bridge species divides. Exactly. Which brings me to something I've been wanting to discuss. Kara's marks shifted to patterns he'd never seen before. The Ethrics have a tradition. When a hunter finds a partner who matches their strength, who can run beside them in any hunt, we perform a ceremony, a bonding. Aaron's heart rate spiked, and he knew Kara could sense it through their armor link. Are you proposing? I'm explaining, she said carefully. The ceremony would link us permanently, not just emotionally or legally, but biologically. Our life forces would synchronize. You would live as long as I do, feel what I feel, share every hunt, every triumph, every loss. That's a hell of a commitment. Which is why I'm telling you now, before asking. You should know what you'd be agreeing to. A human lifespan is perhaps a century. An Ethrix can live for 3. To bond with me would mean watching your human connections fade, while ours endures. Aaron absorbed this, understanding the weight of what she was sharing. Not just a proposal, but a fundamental change to his existence. What about children? He asked. Is that even possible between us? With genetic assistance, yes. They would be something new. Neither fully human nor Ethrix, but a bridge between both. Her marks pulsed with vulnerability. I understand if this is too much. If you need time to consider, Yes, Aaron interrupted. Kara blinked. Yes, you need time. Yes, I'll do it. The ceremony, the bonding, the 3-century lifespan. All of it. He reached across the table, taking her scaled hand in his scarred one. Kara, I've followed you into corporate firefights, government conspiracies, and revolution. You think I'm going to balk at following you into a longer life? Most humans value their humanity, she pointed out. I'll still be human, just human plus, enhanced by alien romance technology. He grinned. My armor already links us in battle. Why not make it permanent? This isn't a joke, Aaron. I'm not joking. I'm just refusing to be scared of something that sounds incredible. He squeezed her hand. I love you, Kara, in whatever form that takes, for however long we have. Her marks flared so brightly that other diners turned to stare. You've never said that before. I was saving it for when you weren't expecting it. Maximum impact. Tactical thinking even in romance. Very human. Strategic planning even in emotion. Very Ethrix. They were interrupted by Aaron's implant chiming. Then Kara's. Then, every device in the restaurant lit up with the same notification. Space Tinder emergency broadcast. The message read. All matched pairs please stand by for critical information. The restaurant's wall screen activated, showing not an advertisement or corporate message, but a simple text display. To all who have found connection across the void. You have proven that difference is not division, that species need not mean separation, that love transcends form. The experiment is complete, the hypothesis confirmed. Organic life, given the chance, will choose harmony over conflict, understanding over fear, connection over isolation. Space Tinder was never about dating. It was about proving that the future of galactic civilization lies not in dominance by one species, but in the bonds between all species. To those who found love, cherish it. To those still searching, persist. To those who use this gift for exploitation, your time is ending. The Heartforge has served its purpose. In 60 seconds, this system will delete itself to prevent misuse. But the connections made, the children born, the understanding built, these remain. From this moment forward, the future is yours to write. With hope and determination, those who came before. The message faded. Around the restaurant, people sat in stunned silence. Then, exactly 60 seconds later, every Space Tinder notification vanished. The app itself disappeared from devices across the galaxy. Those who came before, Kara whispered. The precursors. They built this. Why? Aaron asked. To save us from ourselves. Maya's voice came from the entrance. The journalist rushed in, camera drones whirring. Aaron, Kara, did you see every matched couple got the message? Millions of them. And the app, it's completely gone. No trace in any system. It completed its purpose, Kara said slowly. It created connections across species lines, proved that cooperation was possible, set the stage for exactly what we've been building, Aaron finished. The Open Light Standard, the Refugee Agency, interspecies cooperation instead of competition. You two, Maya breathed. You were the test case, the proof of concept. Your match led directly to breaking Orison's monopoly, which opened the door for everything else. Aaron and Kara exchanged glances. Chosen, not manipulated. Part of something larger than they'd imagined. Does this change anything? Aaron asked her. Everything. Nothing. Kara's marks settled into a steady glow. We're still ourselves. Our feelings are still real. We still have work to do. And a ceremony to plan, apparently, Maya added, having overheard their earlier conversation. The first human Ethrix bonding ceremony. This is going to be the media event of the century. Private ceremony, Aaron and Kara said in unison. Small gathering, Maya bargained. Tiny, Kara confirmed. Family and close friends only. I can work with that, Maya said, already planning, when Aaron and Kara looked at each other again. In the wake of the Heartforge revelation, everything felt both more momentous and more simple. Soon, Kara decided. Very soon. We've waited long enough. 3 weeks later, in a small chamber aboard the Stellar Hunt decorated with both human and etheric symbols, Aaron Blake and Empress Kara Thal underwent the bonding ceremony. General Holst stood as Aaron's witness, their relationship rebuilt on new understanding. Matriarch Scythra, won over by Kara's successful revolution, performed the Etheric's rites. Maya broadcast select moments to the galaxy, turning their union into a symbol of the new age. But the most important moments were private, the exchange of vows that blended human and Etheric's traditions, the synchronization of their life forces that felt like coming home, the quiet promises made away from cameras and politics. No regrets, Kara asked afterward, as they watched Earth rise over Luna through their suite's viewport. Only one, Aaron admitted. My dating app bio was wrong. My armor did survive our first date. But not our bonding ceremony, Kara pointed out. Both sets of armor had been formally retired, replaced by new suits that incorporated the best of both species' technology. So, technically, you were prophetic. I prefer to think of it as eventually accurate. He pulled her close, marveling at how natural it felt despite their differences. Think we'll be a good example. For other interspecies couples, I think we'll be ourselves, Kara said. If that helps others, wonderful. If not, at least we'll be happy. Through their bond, he felt the truth of her contentment, matched by his own. Whatever the Heartforge's purpose, whatever the future held, they would face it together. In the months that followed, Cassandra Prim was captured and tried for crimes against biological sovereignty. The open light standard spread throughout human and alien space. The refugee agency evolved into a permanent institution, facilitating not just rescue, but integration. And on colony worlds throughout the galaxy, children began to be born who were neither one species nor another, but something new. Bridge builders by birthright, living proof that the divisions between species were not walls, but doorways waiting to be opened. Aaron and Kara watched these changes from various positions, sometimes from the frontier, establishing new refugee stations, sometimes from capitals, negotiating expanded cooperation treaties, sometimes from quiet moments stolen between responsibilities. Would you do it again? Kara asked one evening, years later, as they watched sunset on a world with 3 suns. Knowing it was all orchestrated, in a heartbeat, Aaron replied without hesitation. Though I might update my bio, my armor won't survive, but my heart will. Too sentimental, Kara critiqued. How about veteran soldier seeks apex predator for galaxy-spanning adventure and terrible puns? Perfect, Aaron agreed. Good thing the app's gone, or we might match again. As if anyone else would have us, Kara said fondly. They sat in comfortable silence, bonded partners watching the triple sunset paint the sky in impossible colors. Somewhere in the galaxy, other couples were making similar connections, building similar bridges. The future the Heartforge had envisioned was becoming reality, one match at a time. I love you, Aaron said, words that still felt miraculous even years later. And I love you, Kara replied, her marks glowing with contentment. For all the centuries to come. Above them, the stars shone freely, no longer rationed or controlled, but part of an open sky where any connection was possible. The hunt for justice had become a quest for understanding. The warrior and the soldier had become builders of peace. And in the end, that was the greatest plot twist of all, that love could transform not just 2 people, but 2 species, and through them, the galaxy itself. The Heartforge had chosen well, but Aaron and Kara had chosen better. They'd chosen each other,